It is said that you cannot accurately record history until generations have passed, as it is hard to get proper perspective on events occurring within your lifetime. But we will choose to disregard all of that nonsense and delve into the history of CHAZ, or the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. On the evening of June 8th, in the middle of Seattle, police boarded up and vacated a precinct where protests had been occurring. The protesters used the barricades that were in place and blocked off their own area of about 6 blocks and called themselves the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, better known as CHAZ. Signs were posted claiming you are entering free Capitol Hill and you are now leaving the USA. By the afternoon of the 9th, a no-cop co-op had been constructed, with food, water, and supplies, where all items were free to take at your leisure and a true sign of community. By 1 a.m. on June 10th, a call for more food from outside was famously tweeted because the homeless they invited into the zone emptied out the co-op. They were in desperate need of the essentials: vegan meat substitutes and soy products. On the 10th, a People's Assembly area held discussions and poetry readings. CHAZ People's Library and Community Clinic were established. Murals were painted, and graffiti was everywhere. There were even designated smoking areas, and trash and recycling collection was established. A community garden was kind of thrown together, drawing some criticism from the outside world. But, not to worry, they quickly expanded the garden and made raised plant beds to grow the essentials, like orchids. They also segregated gardens, deeming one garden for Black and Indigenous folks and their plant allies, with another garden for whites and everyone else, truly separate and equal. A list of demands were also issued, including abolishing police, abolishing imprisonment, Black doctors and nurses employed by healthcare organizations to treat Black patients, free education at Washington State universities, among other demands. While the days seemed to foster Socratic discussion, the nights could turn Machiavellian. Property has of course been seized, a necessity in any fledgling country. A rapper named Raz Simone and his associates showed up in CHAZ with guns, enforcing the quote-unquote law at night, even assaulting someone for graffitiing somewhere that was not allowed, clearly. Having not been appointed and just showing up and taking power. Some have deemed him the warlord of CHAZ. On Friday, the all-important decision was made to change the CHAZ People's Library to the Anti-Racist Library. Buskers and food vendors arrived from outside the zone. A voter registration booth was set up, presumably for America and not CHAZ. On Saturday, the 13th, a street preacher who appeared to be peaceably preaching is removed by the crowd. Another group decided to peaceably protest by walking through CHAZ with American flags. An African-American man was called a race traitor, and members of the zone tried to take the flags from these protesters for their troubles. Clearly, a protest cannot allow such dissent as a protest to their protest. One CHAZ leader demanded every white person give one Black person $10 for reparations, and that if they were unwilling, they were not loyal or dedicated to the cause. Tensions also rose throughout the day amongst its own people, as some wanted to change the name of their collective. By Sunday, June 14th, CHAZ was no more. After facing criticism from their lack of autonomy by constantly asking for food and donations from the outside, calling the fire department for a dumpster fire, ordering pizza from the United States, and fear of losing the branding battle, they renamed themselves the Capitol Hill Occupied Protest, or CHOP, citing that they are not trying to secede from the United States, as their demands are all focused on changes within the United States, of which they would not be a part of if they were indeed autonomous. So ends the brief life of a would-be nation. A post-apocalypse in a bottle happening at super speed. Running out of food, the rise of warlords, collapse, and reunification with the United States. We will see what the future holds for CHOP and its occupied area. Thanks for watching. This has been Exasperated Nerd Explains.